following weekend.
They're horrible.
Yeah.
No, it's dry now.
Your grandma is unbelievable. He does handstands and lifts his legs up and does exercise. Have a look at the body.
Did he do goose step?
No, that's it's like
Jimmy
Arnold
Jones.
does weights.
Okay.
It's not hard to lift New Zealanders, but get there every morning.
I
We've got a lot on today.
We have.
Particularly the horse breed that there's that more influence on all horse breeds worldwide than the other breed horse.
The Arabian. We had the FO class at 8:20. At the moment we have class 41, the Arabian derivative gelding under 3 years, and the novice show hunter, over 16 hands, 4 horses, which have not won the first prize, novice or open show hunter class at a Royal Show, or any show held outside Australia. 15 nominations in that class, that's a big class, and the hunters are very, very popular now in Australia, and it won't be long, I don't think, before we'll have that many that they'll have to have them in high cameras like we do the open hats, and also they might even have to split it again into light and heavyweight. Because so many people are getting involved into the hunters because it is an area where so far the professionals have not sort of infiltrated.
When you say the professionals, what do you mean by that?
Well, people that, sort of travel the show circuit and train for other people and do riding lessons, etc., etc. These sort of, I don't know, people just do it for recreation. Now, speaking of recreation, a young lady down there that sort of does all sorts of wonderful things for recreation. It's a very good morning to her. I'll introduce you yet, you put the microphone down. It's a very good morning. Carol's here. Good morning, Carol.
Thank you very much. My name is Anne, and a very big good morning to you.
And also, Carol, is a very good morning. I have to say, one of my dear friends, he was ringmaster when I first went to the Roma show, Mr. Young Ken Cameron. I'm previously the lead, one of the boys. Flew in last night, and he doesn't speak anything else except solo. He's a very, very fine man.
Really?
Oh, where's the Cameron tie? Back to the same Cameron tie that he's been wearing for the last 50 years. He's very proud of it, why wouldn't he be? And David looks down there and there's Sky, we've probably got Sky down there today too, assisting with Mr. John Bennett. John Bennett's gone from Chatham down to Germany today. And Mr. Wayne Kennedy is the judge, so yes, it's great to see young Timothy.
You mentioned that he has soda water. I've never seen brown soda water.
Really?
No, he had brown soda water in front of him last night.
I'll have to find out. I think he might have had a sugar cane.
I read what it is.
From Bundaberg.
Yeah, okay.
That's nothing. You're back to Carol, thanks, Carol.
Thanks very much, James and Graham. I'm going to be running around like a little jackrabbit here today because there are so many classes on that I want to be a part of. There with the show hunters, as you said, it's great to see them getting bigger and better every year. And of course here with the Arabian derivatives and lots more as the day progresses, isn't there? But
Yeah, certainly is, Carol.
we make a big welcome because people who've not been to the show from the beginning are now arriving at the show. So a big welcome to all of the people who've come in last night for these special classes that are on today. So welcome, and of course welcome to our judges, Marilyn O'Day. This is Marilyn O'Day here, currently judging the Arabian derivative-led classes. And Mr. Wayne Kennedy up there doing the show hunters. So, what is a show hunter? Well, once upon a time we had weight categories for horses in the show ring here. We had 10, 12, 14 stone hats, light and heavyweight ponies, etc. And then that sort of faded out, and a lot of the more substantially framed, the heavier body horses rather disappeared from the show scene, which was rather a pity because in England the hunters are enormously popular and enormously prestigious. So in the wisdom we have gone back to the days of the past, and these were the horses that date back to the traditions of hunting. Now it's still the epitome of aristocracy that had horses in the old days, but they would go out into rotten Row, as it was called in Hyde Park, and a show off, so to speak, socially mixing with their peers on their show hacks, as we call them now, and they were the finer, more elegant show horses. People wore the very best of finest clothes, etc., because that marked your status in society. But then people in those days also wanted to have sport, and hunting was the sport. It was very, very popular. Of course, the farmers who owned the properties were really glad to have the foxes on their land hunted, because they were a real pest. So off you went to the hunt. But then you needed a very different type of horse, just as we have different vehicles these days for all different purposes. The hunter was the horse that you did your daily sport on. And you started in the wee hours of the morning, and it was pretty cold, so you wore a woolen coat, a tweed coat, and often it was muddy and rainy, and the mud would splash up onto your clothes, etc. So you wanted a coat that didn't show those marks, so the tweed was very popular. And it was a lot warmer, of course, a woolen coat than the lighter weight clothes, and also more serviceable, because the whole thing is about, although it's about quality, it's about doing the job. So your horse needed to be a more substantially built horse to carry a rider all day over all sorts of terrain, over jumps. Well, it was very important that the horse was capable of doing that. You didn't want your pointy-toe, elegant, dancy horse for hunting, because that wouldn't be practical to travel over rough terrain, down hills, and through mud, and all sorts of obstacles and things. So the action needed to be a little more flatter, slightly flatter, not skimming the ground, but not high and elevated like packing, because that wouldn't have been efficient for travelling all day. So you've got a different type of movement, you've got a more substantial horse. And the gear, as I said, the clothing was far more practical for doing what you're doing. You needed not such a tight-fitting jacket, because you had to stretch your arms to go over jumps. And your leather, well, it was no use having that really fine, dainty, and these days the breed. No, that's not applicable for the hunting breed, because imagine, it's raining, your horses with a whole heap of hounds and horses galloping across the fields, and if you want to put the brakes on, you want to make sure that that leather, you've got a handful of it, not some delicate fine little thing that might break. So everything has its purpose. If you wore a stock, well, that had a purpose as well. If there was an accident out on the field, you had a really great bandage to support the horse's leg or your arm or whatever was needed. So it's still